Good afternoon, everybody. A rare afternoon recording, Brian.
It is. It doesn't look like it here, but I got blackout.
Your camera looks the same. This is not a high-powered light outside my window. I'm on the second floor. But we're here recording. You and I are in the midst of a marathon Killer Clowns weekend. We're trying to play. So we wanted to go ahead and record since we could during the day.
Yep.
Great idea. I'm excited to talk. We released an episode not too long ago, and I was thinking, okay, maybe we hold on this, or maybe we don't have a recording for a while, because they announced 6 houses this early, and
what could we possibly have to talk about?
We do have a hint at the date of the next reveal. So in the tribute store, June 28th. So I'm just right now I'm going on that as the next announcement date. I think it makes sense,
and that feels realistic.
They just have IPs.
That checks out, especially it's IPs, and it's going to be mid to late June.
So you get late June, 2 in July, 1 in August, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, and then maybe a Scare Zone drop with shows as well. But we needed to record because we had a huge new ticket drop, which I was very frustrated, Brian, because it seems like almost every year I predict that there's going to be a new type of ticket.
All I thought when I saw that was
this year I did not.
Wait, Ryan didn't predict a new ticket this year.
And we got it. Because I was like, I swear every year I did, and I looked and it was like, oh, it's like going to be an early time or whatever, or a new type of frequent fear ticket, but not. Yeah. So still up in the air, but neither of us got any points for this one. So we're excited to talk about that. Definitely need to. There's a lot of commotion about that, and then. We had a new spec map drop, so perfect timing. We played this episode before we even found out about the spec map. Mainly, it's just the originals in the places of where they're going to be. Yeah. So we have an idea of where some of them are located, or maybe not located, because these aren't final. We don't know for sure, but.
Right, and there's always some flip-flopping around till the end, but there was another. This is the second spec map in a row where a tent house completely changed locations, or a soundstage house completely changed locations, which is quite bizarre. And what's even weirder are the houses that seem to have changed, Ryan.
I couldn't have predicted that some of these things are where they are. We have some thoughts.
No, we have some thoughts. So let's touch on it real quick. Most of it's all the same. The big thing here is all the titles seem to be the same. Nothing new in terms of rumored IPs.
Well, we did have a slight alteration to one of them, but
a slight alteration, but no huge crazy content change. But if you look at the spec map, Monstro's still in the same place, but in Soundstage 22, it looks like we may have a new challenger.
Yes. And who is that, Brian?
It's the Lantern.
Okay.
Which is, spoiler alert, Insidious, probably. We don't know.
Most likely.
We don't know.
Nobody knows. Leaked photo, Hollywood. Insidious is going to Hollywood. They have their facade. It's happening over there. And I looked at both.
It's definitely.
I looked
Insidious.
at both spec maps, and it's like, okay, so the IPs match up. So.
Yeah, it's Insidious. And Ryan, this is reminiscent of something that happened very recently, where we had one of your favorite houses, Halloween, which was in a sprung, go to a soundstage. And this is, I think it was the same sprung. Insidious.
I'm pretty sure it was as well. You actually brought that up, and I didn't make that correlation, Brian, until you mentioned it, that they were doing another upgrade, soundstage upgrade, possibly.
Yeah. Which we loved.
I loved. I mean, the original Halloween was in 24, not 2024. I mean, obviously that's but in HHN 24.
The numbers are getting so hard,
and
guys.
then was in a soundstage during HHN 29, and then Insidious was 25. And so, I mean, it's great. This actually, if true, makes me more excited for the house. I will still stand by that. I really just hope it's the first movie, maybe first 2. If it's got anything to do with the last 2, it's gonna instantly drop any sort of excitement I have for the houses. But if it's a big upgrade for the first movie or first 2, then bring it on. I will actually be very excited. That will be probably my most anticipated IP.
Yeah. And I agree. I'd love to see it go back to the original, maybe have the second one. We don't need the newest one. Who knows what this is going to be, but I do love the idea of a soundstage upgrade because we've had 2 rumored repeating houses this year. One being Insidious, which went, from the Sprung to soundstage, as we've said, and it might have even been the same soundstage. It's crazy. Anyway, similar house facade. Maybe they're just the same movie. Anyway, I think it could be truly terrifying. This feels like a Believer house to me a little bit. But that's not a bad thing. I loved Believer, and I'm excited to see more.
It's a popular movie series. They just announced that they're doing a 6th one.
Did they? Even though the 5th one was...
It made money, though. It made money, and
unlike Furiosa,
that's a little bit of. I need to see that movie still, but from what I hear, a great movie. They're going to be doing a 6th one now. Brian, my question for you is this: I don't consider it a Blumhouse movie, Insidious. I think technically they produced it, but
they did, but it wasn't under. That's a good call. And so. Is this an outlier? Are you asking
I'm asking
if this
because every year we've had some sort of Blumhouse house or like a 2-in-1 or whatever. Like
always gets
me. I'm curious if it's just Insidious. Now I'll give you credit if it's the last 1 or 2. Definitely Blumhouse, whatever. But if it's,
I could see them working in like a 3rd or 4th one just to call it a Blumhouse house. That's a great question. I would have just put it under the Blumhouse umbrella, but if that we'll have to get back to that because if it's only 1 and 2, this is not a Blumhouse house, and that'll be the first time in a while.
So, interesting thoughts on that. So we actually had a couple other changes. Just going next to that one, we had a slight alteration to the Cadillac. Right? It's the Cadillac.
Who are you gonna call?
Yeah. We
Who
have a Frozen icon now. So probably
Elsa is here and she's
over from Disney. But the icon now is Frozen Empire. So I guess now the going rumor, it was going to be the first 2. At least that was the rumor for a bit, and then now it's based off Frozen Empire. So would make sense why there's been no IP announcement because it feels like it was going to be early around the time the movie came out and then didn't happen. The movie itself, I don't think made. I think it made like 180 million or so on like a 100 million budget or something like that. It didn't do terribly. It didn't do amazing. Actually, it didn't do well. We'll just say it didn't do well. Usually a movie needs to make twice its budget back in order for it to really be considered a success. So it would make sense that, and also a lot of negative reviews as well. It seems like the fans loved it. Brian, when I first saw this, I was a little bit disappointed. I was kind of hoping for some sort of Ghostbusters 2 representation. But I haven't seen the movie. I need to see it. I'm waiting for it to go on sale on video on demand. I mean, I know it's out now. You can like buy it for like $25, but I'm waiting for it to hit that sweet $10 to $12 price point. Did you see? By the way, Godzilla -1 just like shadow dropped this weekend. Yeah, it's on Netflix for free.
I know what like I'm iTunes doing and all tonight after clouds.
iTunes for like $15 to own.
Dang.
So
I did not see that. That's incredible.
So I'm looking for some sort of situation like that for Ghostbusters where I can get a little bit of a discount just because I don't know if I'm going to like the movie or not, and I don't like spending $25 on a movie I'm not sure I'm going to like. So
that's fair. That's fair. You cheapskate. No, I'm
just
kidding.
Very much.
I think you will enjoy it. I don't know if you will enjoy it for $25.
That's kind of I figured like a good Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. It's great. I am gonna ring the victory bell on this one because I think I said it from episode 0, maybe episode 1. I don't
remember.
-1. -1. Frozen Empire makes the most sense. I don't want another Ghostbusters house. We've already had it, and we've learned that when we bring a house back verbatim, just like American Werewolf, it just doesn't land as well, even if it's a great house. And here's the thing: Ghostbusters was not a great house. It was a very good house.
I was gonna say. I enjoyed it a lot.
It was good. It was, but it wasn't American Werewolf, right?
Year 1 or year 2?
So I don't need to see.
Year 1 was better.
Actually, it was probably not as good as year 2. No. So I don't need to see it again unless we were getting Ghostbusters 2, right? And getting a combo, sure. From the trailers before this movie came out and after seeing it, I stand by it. This is a great HHN house. It works. I mean, it does all the things that HHN is really great at.
And I've heard that this one is scarier than the previous one.
It is. Yes, and that's why I'm relieved to see this, because I don't know. It was like kind of a Beetlejuice situation where it's like, man, I don't really want this. I don't know. I didn't want Ghostbusters again, and we've just had so many misses in that. I don't know. I just didn't want Ghostbusters again. Maybe sue me.
New
Rob,
is always better, in the words of Brian Bass.
New is always better. Well, and the fact that we already have another repeating house, Insidious. I don't want two
Now, what if they
downgraded
it to a sprung house?
I think that'd be interesting, because the other house was so scenic.
Well, I even got to see a little bit of a version of that in Hollywood, where it was more claustrophobic. It wasn't huge and open, so.
Right, and I think that's a cool take on it. I didn't want to see the same two houses, and especially since Insidious is going into a soundstage, there's two houses next to each other that we've already done. Now, that being said, for people like Tawan and people who've never been, I'd love for them to see it. Ghostbusters is a huge title. It's a huge win for their summer parade. Yeah. The fact that Ghostbusters hasn't been in the park is a shame, and I do want to see it represented. As far as a Halloween Horror Nights experience, I think Frozen Empire is going to do a much better job than if we just got 1 and 2 again.
Yeah.
That being said, I think this is our strongest IP, which is crazy.
Yeah, I could see an argument for that. I mean,
we don't have we don't have. I
would say it's like the most relevant IP. If Insidious is indeed coming back based off the first movie in a soundstage, I could argue that would be. But
with the lives will tell us, with Quiet Place, I don't know. All of these are. I think they're all on the same level.
Let's look up box office receipts for Insidious: The Red Door versus.
Okay, I'll do Frozen Empire. You do Insidious. And Rob Dole had a hot take. He said Conjuring over Insidious.
As far as what?
Like better franchise and movie and.
I would argue franchise. You can't really deny that. I mean, it spawned like 8 movies.
Okay, fine. Movie. What about What about movie though? Conjuring 1 versus Insidious 1. Go.
I'm probably going to choose Insidious.
Ooh, because it was scary.
But Conjuring is a very I'm not gonna. That would be a hard debate. That's a very hard debate.
I saw that twice in theaters, and both are great. It looks like it made. It crossed the 188 million. It got close to 200 million.
It said it was 188 million.
Yeah, but then 7 days ago, Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire surpasses 200 million.
Because I was gonna say, Insidious: Red Door made 189 million. So
that's honestly surprising and kind of blows me away.
So we'll see. So the box office.
They're like. Right there.
So you never know. I mean, you might see Insidious have some stronger. And like you said, for the people that didn't get to go, I mean, 25 was, if you're talking original, 25 was nine years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, the whole skipping a year throws me off sometimes.
I will always say the wrong thing. When does Quiet Place Day 1 come out? Is it out already?
I feel like it's always
June 27th this summer. Oh, June 27th. And they're announcing June 28th. So Quiet Place is the first IP being announced. I'm probably super late to this party, but also that's the other thing I want to say. I will blow a gasket if Frozen Empire is announced and they didn't freaking announce it with the movie for my prediction. What? You already touched on it. Why would they not have already announced it with the freaking movie?
Brian, this actually brings up a good point. This was not on the notes, but what are your do you have a preference for Quiet Place, whether it's going to be the original Quiet Place or the new one?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not that excited for Quiet Place anyways. I will say if it's the new movie, it makes me probably even less excited.
Less excited. It looks much more action-y, blockbuster-y, Independence Day meets but the first one just because it was scarier, and I dug the first one. I thought it was a good take on a monster movie. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, first one was a good movie.
Had a really scary some scary scenes.
Just because
and
they announce
where it's
after this new one comes out, they're like, "Oh, you just saw the new one. Experience the original at Halloween Horror Nights."
Just because she gave birth in a tub and next scene had a baby without making a sound, who can really dock that? No, I'm just kidding. I want the old one. Ideally, I'd love both. I think that's the play. But the only reason I'm holding on hope, because I don't care. I really don't. It's an IP. It's cool. I've seen the movie once. I don't know. If it's at HHN, I will see the new one. Otherwise, I have no plans to. It's a cool monster. And if it jumps out at me at a house, it's going to be a good scare. So that's the only reason I'm like, okay, fine. Like, it's a good monster design. So if we get a house with scary monster puppets that look like that, it's probably going to be a good house.
True story.
And if they can pull off anything with the quietness, that's something that I don't know how you do it, especially now that's in a soundstage and you share space. I think that's going to be even harder than before. But yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, Brian, we need
that's my
to continue on things that I did have written down.
Oh boy.
So we have.
This is where we're about to get.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say the non-spicy first. Female monsters has moved from a soundstage
right
to a sprung tent. Doesn't really. I'm fine with that. We don't.
That's a weird. We still don't know what it is. I don't understand. I'm waiting. I don't even want to speculate on that.
Before we've had the monsters in like the parade building or what was the other building called? The one that like the Weekend was in. Was that parade. The parade? Then what was the one behind it?
It's like both. They're all parades. Okay. I'm calling them all parades.
So in the parades buildings.
In those buildings. You guys know.
So now that the sprung tents, the new sprung tents, which I haven't quite decided to give you that point yet, just because it's not super official yet, but
it's not super official.
But the new sprungs have replaced those. So I mean, it's pretty much it's been in that location before. So let's go for it. Okay. Yeah. So we have a flip-flop. So we have major suites in Fast and Furious and Triplets of Terror and a soundstage. Go.
I did not notice this right away because I was so shocked at the Insidious change. And I feel like that was like just slid in there. It makes me less excited immediately for Suites.
It does,
like a lot. And we talked about this when Suites was announced and it was rumored for the Fast and Furious house like minimally. I was like, that won't. I don't get it.
It's a house that you can picture in your head.
You can see
like
it.
A factory. Heck, we've seen the clown factory. So we've seen factories before, and now you're going to take that away and do it in a Fast and Furious queue, which you can. You know what? They have the option to still they can still do some stuff. It's just very small.
Yeah. Yes, it's very small.
It's a very scare actor focused experience.
It is, and to your point, Ryan, what we were talking about earlier, had there been any other house that would make this make sense, I would say, okay, I see why it's there. But then they announce a house that, to what you said, is made for the Fast and Furious house. The Triplets of Terror is the most that
so Triplets of Terror going to a soundstage.
I'm more confused than I've ever been, honestly.
When I saw Triplets of Terror, I mean, I thought that was an interesting concept. Sounds like a Hollywood concept. It's that's scare actor focused. You don't really care about the sets. They could have whatever up. It's just people coming at you. Perfect for Fast and Furious queue. So the fact that that's in a soundstage and major suites is in Fast and Furious, and who knows, maybe this is wrong. Maybe it's just it got flip-flopped or whatever. But
every map we've had not minimal changes, major changes. But yeah, so I don't know. It could be wrong. I hope it's wrong, because But again, what I do, the optimistic side of me, because I don't want to be negative. Maybe they're just gonna go a completely different direction with this Candy Factory thing. And that's great. I want to see that, because to your point, we all can picture it. And I don't go somewhere to get what I'm expecting. I go somewhere to see an amazing take on it. So maybe we'll just see something crazy here.
But I will say that with this change, I want to say that this major suites might now be the bottom of my list.
Bottom. Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
I've seen it beforehand. I saw something and I was like, I don't know. It's kind of like in the couple mid-range, maybe bottom, somewhere in a mixed one. I'm not totally sure, but this one I'm like, that doesn't really do much for me then. Versus at least with Triplets, I'm like, okay, maybe there's some creative broken down sets or something like that they could
Yeah.
Well, Brian.
Drops down for me.
So we covered
Triplets of Terror.
The SPEC map.
We did.
Now,
I have one final question here, because I do want to bring it up. They have gone out of their way to post, even from the creator, that Triplets of Terror is not a reskinned IP. Do you believe that?
Okay, so you and I were having this conversation before we were recording. I tend to believe people when they say that, but we also know from a marketing standpoint that sometimes it's just what they say in order to get around things. The fact that it's now in a soundstage, it's a little suspicious, just because it's okay. This would have been a very big IP that would have been in a soundstage, and now it's it's an original that doesn't sound like it lends itself to a soundstage that's there. So
agreed. Yep.
Medium. I can't really say. I'm either way there.
We won't know until we see it. We won't know.
We
until
go
we
in.
see
It's
it,
in an abandoned Dave and Buster's. One of them's called Dave. One of them's called Buster.
The middle one's and. I'm always the middle child, the forgotten one. I'm the and side. What's that actually called?
Just lean into it like the knockoff. Make it like one of those asylum movies where it's like they make it just enough to get by the copyright.
I honestly would love that. I do hope, because he said he'd been working on this and he wants it to be a great concept. So I'd love to see their own original version of a triplet killer house. Could be terrifying. The balloons could make for some genuinely terrifying scenic moments. So hopeful for that. Now let's move to something that we have asked. Are we off the map?
We are off the map.
Are we good? Okay, let's move on to something that we have asked for a while, honestly. This is something we have brought up in things we'd like to see.
This was completely unexpected. I'll say for those.
Most unexpected announcement all year.
The fact, just like...
More unexpected than the spooky Empire 6 House announcement week?
And they did break the 33 streak.
They did break the 33.
Yeah. We have the announcement of a premium Scream night, and this is something that's like from like a Horror Night fan dream. We'll get into the specifics, the details, and how much it costs and what people think about it. But let me just go ahead and read off. For those that don't know, I want you to know fairly what this experience is. So this is an event. It's going to be August 29th, which is probably most likely, it's the day before opening night, but probably sandwiched in between employee preview.
2 days after.
Oh, so 2 days after employee preview? Okay, so it's...
Well, no, 1 day, you're right, because Wednesday will be employee preview.
So sandwiched in between there. But everything you love, I pulled this straight from the Horror Nights website, so everything you love about Halloween Horror Nights, but with limited capacity, shorter wait times, haunted house entry staggered by group, and then select all you care to enjoy food and more. And then they're going to be releasing additional details plus tickets June 6th, which is this Friday, so they gave us advance notice to get ready. Which makes sense because our credit cards might not be ready for this. So we have $350 for non-pass holders, which is annual pass holders. They're providing an annual pass holder discount for this event. $325. So $325 if you are an annual pass holder, which I am. So I do qualify for that. Brian, this is a pretty amazing idea.
Yes. So many thoughts.
Well, when I first saw this, I was like, that's expensive. I don't really know. Maybe it's not for me. Because you texted me and you said, hey, this is right up your alley. And I'm like, really? It sounds like it's going to be expensive. I don't really know. And then you're like, I didn't even see the pulsing of the houses. And the fact that
And here's the math I'll give you guys that I gave Ryan, who everybody's saying it's a little pricey. And I thought it was going to be $500 to $800. And I have two thoughts on it being under 500. The first thought is I think it's going to be a little bit higher capacity than everybody's expecting. But second, Horror Nights ticket is $80-something, $90 on a low night, on a not expensive night. Let's say you want a fast pass and you want to see all the houses. That's minimum $100. You're talking close to $200 at this point. And then if you stop for food twice, you're pretty close to $300 at that point. So ultimately, it's not that crazy. When I saw all you can eat, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be $500." That's crazy.
Brian, do you remember how much the food tasting event was last year? Wasn't it like $125?
It was like 100. I think it was more than that. I think it was like 160 to 200 for just eating food. You notice that didn't come back.
And let's just say it was like 180. This is only like 170, and you get to do all the haunted houses, and you get to be pulsed by group.
Yeah.
So
the pulsing is big. We've asked for that, and we'll call it what it is, which is what the food event was. It's instead of a media night, they're going to do that too, but this is a paid media night. This is a paid YouTuber social. Anybody who wants the invite to media night and they can't bring all those people in, this is the night for them. I absolutely love it. I was really angry when I saw it because of how freaking late they announced it. If this had been on the table, I don't know if I would have done Rest in Peace. I would do 2 nights. All right,
with this. Brian. So what's holding you back
from doing it? I've already booked everything. I've already financially.
So what is it? Is it a money thing? Is it a time thing? Or
both? I can't. It's another trip to Florida. I can't. You can't just impromptu 2 months out. August. It's June, Ryan. Like,
what if I paid for your plane ticket?
If you pay for my plane ticket, I'd go. But I'd still. It's just like that's what's infuriating. And here's the other thing. This is going to sell out immediately. I hope if you're going, you better, anybody listening, better be on the clock.
Brian, we will just discuss whether I should go or not, but part of me just kind of wants to lock it in because you know what? I don't feel like there's going to be any trouble getting a return for the ticket if I need to, because it's going to...
I agree, and here's the question. When this thing goes live and it sells out immediately, will they offer another one? Because that's what I told you. Next year... If this becomes something that's like the Tuesday night or the Sunday night, or they throw it in on an off night, this is my plan for next year. Ryan or Billy, everybody. I'm not doing Rest in Peace. I'm not doing 2 nights. Like, we're doing this next year.
I mean, because the key thing here, Brian, is, limited capacity is great, shorter wait times, and who even knows what the capacity is going to be cut off at.
That is the question.
It's the pulsing of the groups. I mean...
And the question is, what's the pulsing time?
A lot of people have a lot of issues with the conga lines. I don't. I've gotten used to it over the years.
That's because you don't go to local
haunts.
Horror
Nights, that's just kind of what I've come to expect. And they do a good job of resetting and making it still fresh. They try to mix up the scares.
Right, you still get scared.
Which is good, but I'll tell you, the times that I've gone through a house with a group by ourselves or by myself, some of the greatest haunted house experiences I've ever had.
Yeah, infinitely better.
Yeah, so
let's go through the worst case scenario here real quick. They're only pulsing because there was times back in the day on slow nights they would pulse groups, and you will always catch the group in front of you. I've been to local haunts that pulse you
like on that HHN
3 minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes. And you still catch them, okay? But then the people catch you if you do HHN pace because nobody behind you's doing HHN pace. Then you're the jerk.
That's fine.
Yeah, I know. There goes my coffee. But worst case scenario, you get half the house to yourself. Like, even if you catch the group, it's not going to be in the first 3 rooms. So it's it's not bad. I don't know. There's so many thoughts on this. I'm just so mad that it's out of nowhere and that they. I don't know. It's all the.
Do you think it's worth the money?
Yeah, 100%. I said before they announced the price, before I named or saw the price, I said I'd pay $500 for it.
If this was the one night you could go.
Right. Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons I'm considering it is like I could possibly just go ahead and get my HHN experience done early, and we'll get to the thing. Right. There's just one thing I want to talk about before we get into pros and cons for me, where my mind's at, whatever like that, because I think it's worth it too. I think it's a great experience. I really don't care. The main thing that I've seen, and Brian, we're known for our hot takes here. There's a reason why I don't post a lot on social medias, because I'm afraid of, I like to kind of be honest with my opinion, but is a lot of people just seem really upset that this is replacing opening night. I don't think it really takes away from opening night. Already, you have Unmasking the Horror Tour, and also, like, people, not everyone, like, it's like, yes, opening night's been an experience for a couple of years where you get to go.
Right.
And be one of the first, but it's gotten super crazy from an ops perspective.
You know what's weird? Can I say, so I didn't know that. I haven't seen that. I've also been in the woods for a few days. I haven't seen the reactions to this announcement.
And there's a lot of negative, either people say that basically like, oh, like, you're super rich if you're going to this event, or it's like you're taking away from opening night, the opening night experience, for.
So, oh man, I don't want to process live on air here, but what a not great take. I can't agree with that. And if we're going to talk about, that's some bad points. I don't think it does take away from opening weekend. Because that's like saying team preview takes away from opening weekend.
And
it doesn't.
And the thing is, this is just a different experience, and it gives the scare actors more time to rehearse their scares.
Right. For a better opening weekend. That makes me angry. But also, I actually, I commented on a YouTube video, Ryan, with our channel. I interacted with somebody because there was, and I'll get you all the channel, because I loved he addressed the negativity in such a great way, and he had good commentary on it, and I can't believe, it's honestly shocking that there's negativity about this announcement. That blows my mind. I think that's really dumb. The rich thing, let's be honest, bro, if you're going to this event,
even for myself,
some money.
I do extra, I play drums. And so what I'll do is I'll take gigs to help pay for my extra things at Horror Nights. And, it was funny because
we got a new subscriber.
Oh, nice. Sorry. I was talking to my wife about it, and I was like, oh, for sure. She's gonna be like, yeah, you're not doing that or whatever. You're gonna have to choose. And she was like, oh, well, if you just like do enough side stuff, then like get your Rush of Fear pass and then do this extra thing. And, I have some concerns. Yeah. That's holding me back a little bit. But
Zombie Chris has a video called "The Negativity of Halloween Horror Nights 2024," and unlike Ryan, we always kind of tug of war on how honest and hot take we're gonna be, because we have opinions. I don't want to lie and be like, oh, the event's magical and great, because we are spending a lot of money to do it. So there is the argument of like, I want to be great. But man, he voiced it so well, and everything I tried to rant about on the last episode, he put together in a much less emotional, more strategic way. And so the fact that the community's even responding to this, and I think, Ryan, here's the problem: we all had our budget for this year. We had our tickets picked out, and that is where my frustration comes from a little bit. I would have liked this as an option, and I would have considered. It's the same way how Hallowscream did my dream. They're doing a 5K through the park. That's a Halloween event, Ryan. I just did a 5K in the mountains. I want to do a 5K through a Halloween event, and I can't just all of a sudden be like, hey, let's shift everything a month. I can't do that. We're out of state, and all I have to trust is this is going to go well. Opening weekend of Hallowscream, which is mid-September. All I have to trust is this is going to go well, and they'll do more next year. That's I'm frustrated that I can't go. I don't think it takes away from anything. Yeah. And honestly, what I think you're going to get, let's get into the pros and cons of this thing. What I think you're going to get is all the if anything, you should be happy, because this is going to take all the annoying influencer vibes away from opening weekend.
And that's one of the reasons why I'm happy, like, that they're posting it just in itself is a great idea. As far as
it's the greatest thing. Why you should go to local haunted houses. You like posting? Go to locals.
Like, you know what? If people are going to be influencer pulling out their phones, trying to be silly, like, or whatever, all right, well, at least it's with their own group. Like, that's the main thing. It's like, I get annoyed when people try to film inside of a house and I'm behind them, and it's like, dude, I waited in line for 45 minutes and I stared at your phone for the entire time. Like, or like someone had to come out and stop the line to tell you to put your phone away. Like, it's like, no, like, don't ruin my experience. So I'll tell you like where my thought process is at. I told you for budget, whatever like that. So I'm a little bit hesitant because currently I'm in a unique position where I can go, but it seems like I might be the only one of my friends that could be able to go. So I might have to go by myself. If I do that, that presents me. So I don't know how they're going to pulse. They say by group. So me being by myself, am I going to be going through the houses by myself? Which I don't know if my heart can take it. Because could you imagine getting solo runs the entire night? It'd be amazing. I don't know if I would live. Like, Halloween in 29. Was it 29?
Maybe.
I don't remember.
That's right before all this stuff went down.
Well, okay, when they brought Halloween to the soundstage, I had to do that house by myself, and oh my gosh, like, it was crazy. Like, by the time I was like holding my chest because I was like out of breath and like my heart was beating so fast. So to do that 10 times, it would be a lot.
You wouldn't even get to fully enjoy.
The alternative is being placed with randos every time, which I think is worse.
Right.
I think especially for someone like myself, I'm an introvert. I don't, especially new people, don't like being around a lot of new people. So to have to go through a haunted house with a new group of people every night or every house, that's really like, I would like that. I'm not interested in that at all.
Yeah, and that's a good point because I go to local haunts by myself, and half the time, Kieran, when I made you go to Halloween Horror Nights halfway to Halloween, the whole reason is local haunts will not pulse you as a separate group unless you're 4 or more. So if you're 3, 2, or 1, they're going to pair you with another group, and it is weird, and you don't know if people are going to ruin it.
Exactly.
Also,
like I could get paired with an influencer group, and then it's like, oh, okay,
right.
Great.
And they're not even getting scared. They're just like, aha, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm just there to have fun and get scared and enjoy a little adrenaline rush, right? Like, and enjoy the Halloween. I don't need people, like, not being scared or being annoyed.
Yeah.
Like, that is the fear. And that's the thing. The only reason I want to sit and wait on this thing is to see how they do it. What is limited capacity? Are we talking 50%, 30%, 75%?
Am I going to be able to wait 5 minutes for every house? Like, will I get multiple chances to do every house? I did see that they confirmed hours were 6:30 to 2, just like any other night.
That's crazy.
So that's great. But yeah, and then
the thing is, they have to start putting all this detail out because this is going to sell out, and people need to know what they're spending their money on. Which they say details are going to be coming out on June 6th, but you also know that with the tickets,
you need to hop on the tickets as soon as they drop, otherwise you're not getting one.
Yeah. It's going to sell out. So it's going to sell out very fast.
The other thing that I could see as a huge negative, Brian, and I say this with all, I'm just going to preempt. We love the team that puts on the event. They're great. Awesome.
You guys They're work hard. No one is questioning your work ethic.
Historically, the first weekend of ops is not the best.
True.
Express
and that's what
lines
this event is doing is figuring everything out.
Express lines are always twice as long or non-existent. So, like,
I forgot about that.
And then remember last year with Stay and Scream when I did that, it was like, okay, people didn't even know where things were, and also so now you have it's the first real night of the event with the public and not just team members. Yeah, and you're introducing just a whole new event on top of that we've never done before. So, like, how are you going to do that? You have people having free food. Is that just out at tables? Is the whole park open?
What does that mean? Yeah. What is the food situation, Ryan? Is it all the food stands?
Yeah. Do you just get to walk up and
private recipe store where it's a buffet of all the things? Can you go up and say I want 10 pizzas,
or is it like, okay, you only get one per person, and then you have to come back later and get another one? Like,
it says all you can.
Yes, but at one time,
I forgot the phrasing.
I want 30 hot dogs. Okay, now I'm behind someone that's eating 30 hot dogs. We've all been there at like Dairy Queen where you're like, how are you ordering for an army?
Have you guys? Yeah.
So that's the other thing that and really it would be a bummer. It is, while we say it's very affordable and it's good for the event, like as far as price wise, to pay $325 and then go and then have it be a disaster would be upsetting, especially because I would probably try to go with the hopes that it would be my one time going.
So that is my only concern with this. There's pros and cons. There's a lot of excitement.
I would also say that the big pro is that this is probably the only time that this is going to be. I bet you that this is going to be near double the price if it's a success.
This will skyrocket.
This will be the year to do it, and then get it done with, and then you don't have to worry about
Yeah. But if this was an option, if this becomes a go-to option out of nowhere, which is exciting. We're so excited to have a new freaking ticket option, and it's baller, and it's cheaper than private Rest in Peace tour, and I don't need 10 people. And public Rest in Peace tour, it's cheap. So at that point, this would be my only thing. This would be the one night I go, just how Rest in Peace tour is the one night I go instead of doing 2 nights. So that being said, it's gotta go. Here's the thing with private Rest in Peace tour. I don't have to worry. I know I'm going to get every house. I know I'm going to get food. I know what to expect. I know how it's going to go. There's a lot of what ifs on this one. If they all get check marked and they're good, this is going to be the ticket of the event. And I see it happening multiple times next year. The price will double. Maybe not double, but it'll go up. Yeah. Like, this has potential to be a solid reoccurring and is offered, every other week or something. I don't know if they could do it that often, but they could do it, more than once. And I still don't think that if this sells out immediately,
I can see them bringing it back. So
I don't think it will be the only time this year. I think they could throw another one in at the end of the year. I just hit the desk so excitedly that I.
All right, Brian. So preliminary, looking at it, if it's around this, yes, I can pay for your flight if you want to go. So.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
You have to fly to Savannah, and then drive down with
fine.
me. Yeah.
We'll drive down, and then we'll drive down, and we'll go to it, and we'll drive back the next day and fly out.
Oh, okay. So next day. So I have. Well, do you want to do Wednesday or probably Wednesday? So that way it's not the day off.
Yeah.
And then Friday,
and I can stay at your house. So it's literally
$218.
It's the ticket. It's just the. You're gonna make a lot of enemies with me, and my family and my friends.
Think about it. You have a couple days.
I have a couple days. Yeah. I mean, I definitely obviously
that would and we would still have to get the tickets too.
Right. Yep. And we could go down to Ducat, and there's that. Oh man.
But
I just need to know. I need answers.
We'll see.
To my
We'll see.
Ryan.
We'll leave people on the edge of their seats, whether it happens or not. Probably the next time we record, there will be an answer. But yes.
Why would you put me in this predicament?
Well, because selfishly I want to go and do it,
and you're not.
And also I want to go with the Halloween Horror Nights with you.
Right.
It's been a bit. We're not going to be able to do RAP tour, and so it'd be good to just go the two of us.
That's true.
And
do a show
at least
down there.
I feel like if there's two of us, they could probably pulse us by our group. But
yeah, or we'll meet up with. Why's your brother not going?
He has to choose between Rush of Fear or. And
that's fair. That's a tough.
And he would rather do it casually over the month and go several nights than.
That's fair.
Because I already asked him, and I think I asked somebody else too, and it was pretty much. There are a couple people I know that I could ask, but I kind of
Jacob.
I was gonna say I don't think he'll do it. He's not a big Halloween Horror Nights guy, so let alone this.
I learned.
But and then there's some people that I'm like, okay, if they go, it's going to be their one night, and I can't guarantee that they're going to have a great experience. So I want to make sure that
that's the.
So I don't want to ruin goodwill on that and be like, hey, I'm going to convince you to go with me so I can go, and then have it ruin your experience. So it'd be good to go with someone who's a vet that. If something happens and it ends up being if it ends up being a dud, it's a bummer, but it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world, right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
All right. Well, we're gonna leave everybody on a cliffhanger, and
even me, I'm on a I'm like trying not to get excited. So
yeah, I was like, let me look up real quick, and
you've just disrupted my whole year every episode.
Like, $218. That's not bad.
That's crazy.
So
from Lexington.
Yep, Lexington to Savannah. One stop in Atlanta. Oh boy. I mean, it's an early flight, but there's some that are later. I mean, there's a 10:34. Get in at 4:17.
Here, because I'm uncomfortable and I'm upset that this might actually happen, and I'm excited. I'm gonna offer one more special guest. If you jump in the car, we'll just drive to Ryan's.
Oh well, yeah.
And then the three of us can go, and we'll have a group. No, I don't. Just kidding. I know he can, but. Oh my God, I want to go to this, and we could get video coverage. Oh, it'd be so awesome.
It would be a fun time for sure.
All right. Well, I am now freaking out, and Ryan just casual, and we're gonna play Killer Clowns later tonight.
So,
but here we are with more exciting, not just speculating. We have real HHN stuff. So it's exciting times, and I'm gonna go talk to my wife.
And she's gonna be like, absolutely not. You're not doing that. How many times are you going to Orlando in 2 months? You don't have.
Oh boy. All right. Well, stay tuned, folks, because this is crazy.
All right. See ya.